Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our market conditions and ratios update, get you guys some information on the commodity bull market and how it's progressing. And I guess we'll just dive right in and I'll give you my financial opinion. So we've got the dollar here, the DXY. It is heading lower. That is a tailwind for our investments. It doesn't mean that the dollar is necessarily anything. All of these currencies are losing value massively, but this is relative. It's a relative strength indicator for the most part for the DXY, and the dollar is losing value against other currencies in the system. That's a tailwind behind commodities because commodities are priced in dollars. The 10-year yield continues to shed yield, heading lower. Great for mortgage rates in the real estate market, because it's very highly linked to the 10-year yield. And it does look like it wants to continue lower. Is this being purchased by the Federal Reserve? Because that matters. What matters is, what is the true driver of this? Is it recessionary fears? Is it some sort of fear in the market? Or is it the Federal Reserve in there playing with yield curve control? I don't know which one it is, but as long as we get good tailwinds behind our commodity investments, I think that they will continue to do well, irrespective of if the 10-year goes up or down. But usually the 10-year yield goes up when oil goes up. And we've seen a disconnect recently where oil's going up and the 10-year yield's going down. And it's almost as if someone's in there buying the 10 year. They're buying bonds. Looking at the overall CRB index, it continues to go higher here. That looks fantastic. Big long-term perspective. I'm going to take that out so you guys can see. We've got a nice big hammer pattern wick on the monthly candlestick. This very well could be a reversal pattern where we reverse higher. That's what it looks like on the weeklies. And then the dailies, we have this nice little pattern that's broken to the upside. So that looks good. The overall index looks pretty good. Looking at some of the ratios, the XAU to gold ratio, that's looking a lot better. We've broken the downtrend. The next thing that we have to look at, well, here's a weekly candlestick. That looks good. A little reversal hammer candlestick going on. And then the big long term, we have to break this big long downtrend. This is where I wrote needs to break this line for happiness. We got to break that, break it to the upside, where gold and silver mining stocks outperform gold itself. Looking at some other ratios. Scroll all the way down here. The CRB to S&P 500. We've broken that downtrend line to the upside. On a weekly, we are in a falling wedge formation. Whenever these point lower or downward, those are usually positive for a break to the upside when the pattern is facing a little bit slightly downward, which this one is. So we are looking for a break to the upside and a continued move for the CRB index to outperform the S&P 500. So that's what I see there. A platinum to gold ratio, it's holding its own. It's basically grinding sideways for the most part, but it's broken out of this long-term consolidation period to the upside, and we've been grinding sideways. Platinum to palladium ratio, this thing's been grinding sideways as well, but it's at a very low level. Historically, if you purchased platinum at these types of low levels, that eventually they will revert and move to the upside. That's what happened with a weaker dollar last time in 2001. It really took off and made incredible progress against palladium. I think that's coming very soon at some point here, where platinum's going to outperform everything. Last market, early in that market from 98 onward, we saw an outperformance all the way to 2003 of platinum over silver. We are again early in this market where I'm hoping that platinum outperforms silver. On a ratio basis, silver made some pretty good headway this past week, and we're doing a retest move on the breakout line. But silver looks really strong. We could go sideways here for a little while, where platinum and silver both go up together. Gold to silver ratio, man, recently silver has done very well against all assets. But here's gold to silver. It's basically doing that return move back to the breakout line. So it broke out of that. We're doing a return move, and then we're going to compress down at some point here in the future. So silver's the one that I like. Palladium to silver ratio, I do think that this is going to compress lower, where silver is going to outperform palladium in the upcoming bull market. But the ratio is cheap for silver. Dow Jones to gold. Dow Jones is outperforming gold at this time. We do, or at least I think, that we are in it'd be a bull trap for the S&P 500 and Dow Jones and all those others. And then this will compress way down coming up maybe a year from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, something like that. Gold to oil ratio is holding steady at this time. It's just moving sideways, big picture view. It's right at about 17.6. It's slightly cheap for oil. This usually compresses all the way down below 10 on a gigantic bull market in oil. Copper to gold ratio, putting in that hammer pattern. I think that is going to reverse and go higher. The daily candlesticks, you can see it reversing, going higher here. So that's good. We want that to go higher. And is this a pause in the market here where we will eventually head lower? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But right now it's heading higher. Uranium is underperforming silver at this time in the short term. I think this is going to change quite dramatically at some point, and this is going to rocket. You're going to see uranium just go ballistic at some point. We're not at that point yet. We're underperforming the S&P 500. On the monthly candlestick, we're underperforming. It is underperforming whatever the next one, gold. Underperforming gold on the monthly candlestick and underperforming oil on the monthly candlestick. And then we're also underperforming copper. This is a little bloody nose, though. Uranium will outperform. We're seeing the mining companies really start to take off. People are positioning in the mining companies right now. That's the first step. The second step is futures, I think, will take off. So all the positioning's happening now. The Baltic Dry Index to gold, it's heading lower a little bit. And I think eventually this will head higher. It's going to do some crazy stuff as we break to the upside for a big commodities bull market that occurs later in these years. Coming on down, lithium, it's basically just moving sideways the entire time. And I don't know if this is still trading or what, but that's what lithium is showing. Scrolling down, the S&P 500 continues to go higher. It's looking pretty robust on the short term, so that looks really good. But long-term wise, I do think that it's putting in probably a big bull trap. And what that's going to look like is you come on down, it's going to come on up. It might even do a double top if it wants to go high enough and come back down, or it might come lower. Something on the lines of that. And the US Composite Index is going to do the same thing. I think it's going to come up. It'll come all the way up here. It could even go above it like this. It could come below. Hard to say where exactly this will end up, but a lot of the times it's somewhere like that. That would be a double top or a bull trap. Let's see if EEM loads. Oh, there, it's loading now. Here's EEM. I do think when the dollar gets weaker, this will go up. So we should see a move higher here at some point when the dollar gets weaker. This is a consolidation period. We've broken to the upside. We've come on back inside the pattern, and I think we'll eventually break. It's just taking longer than expected. XHB looks really good to go higher. That's the home building ETF. That looks fantastic. Looking at lumber, lumber is low, but I do think that we're going to find some support right where it's at. Big long-term picture, there's the support line here. We're at an entirely different higher level up here. It's been grinding sideways, broke out of that breakout, and we're at an entirely different level. Nickel's been just grinding sideways at a very high level compared to what it was. Palladium priced in dollars actually looks pretty good to go higher, but I think silver will outperform it. We've got cocoa futures. Cocoa futures, look at these from a long-term perspective. They're still grinding between these two resistance support lines. Wheat is also pulling on back on the monthlies. Soybeans, it's got a nice big hammer pattern. This will probably reverse and head higher at some point. And then corn also has a little bit of a hammer pattern. We'll see if this heads higher. Not really that I'm not really playing these too much. Copper priced in dollars. Nice big hammer pattern right here. That looks good to move higher. It's a reversal candlestick. Looking at the PPI to CPI ratio, that guy's still at breakout land. If it can break and move higher, we could break out of this entire pattern and move far higher than where we are today. It's basically a paradigm shift. That's going to be pretty crazy. We've got Moo. Breaking higher, looking good. That thing looks really strong. Aluminum is also starting to firm up and put in a bottom. That's where this guy's putting in a bottom here right above support, so that's looking good. And then the Baltic Dry Index was pulling back a little bit in the short term. If it wants to show up. There we go. Pulling back, still above support for the Baltic Dry Index. But that's what I've got for today, guys. It looks like, the commodity bull market's still game on. And, the Dow Jones, I think, will outperform in the short period of time stocks and put in a bull trap. Once that bull trap's done, then it's money rotation from there on out. That's when the big moves, I think, will occur. I think they could occur even right now. People are going to start positioning. And now it's a confidence game. If people lose confidence in the system, you'll see precious metals do crazy things. If people realize that the inflation isn't going away and it's getting worse, that could also have an impact on a paradigm shift of we're in a transitory inflation period to we're in an entirely new period. And that's going to change the dynamics of the system, the psychology of people, and the velocity of money could kick up depending on what they think. But that's what I've got for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the clip. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website in the description link below. Hit up our Sunday, 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time question and answer session for Platinum members. If you want to join that, definitely become a subscriber. Then you can ask questions to me directly. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.